Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Cat Mama Tarot and welcome to this timeless reading. Feel free to watch this for any Scorpio placement in your chart, and I trust that this will find you at the right time, but use your discernment, and if there are no messages here that resonate with you, then leave this for another time or come back and watch another Scorpio reading, or really any reading that you desire. And thanks so much for being here. It's really good to be back. Let's see what messages we've got here for you, Scorpio. All right, we start with acceptance, the cycle of life. New beginnings, take a fresh look at life. And forgiveness, compassion, and kindness with strength. Know your strength at the bottom of the deck. All right. Well, like I said, we start with acceptance. And you know, a lot of things start with acceptance, really, when you think about it. The more we can accept what is, the more we can accept ourselves, the more we can really just get into that place of acceptance, of radical acceptance, and trust that everything is as it should be, the more we can actually flow with life, and it really removes any kind of resistance or any kind of blocks to being able to kind of start anew, right? To start fresh, to take a fresh look at life. So perhaps you are at this kind of juncture right now, Scorpio, where there's a need for acceptance, and the more you can get into that place of acceptance, it's going to actually help you move into this new beginning. I've got Lola here who wants to join our reading, although, Lola, can you come back later? I know as soon as you get up here, you're going to want to get back down. Sorry for the disruption. I don't know if she's going to give up. You need to come up here right now? You need Scorpio to see you? All right. Oh my goodness. I got to get her over the wire. Oh, sorry for the interruption, Scorpio. Okay, as I was saying, so acceptance will enable you to start something new, start a new chapter, start a new phase, or just really kind of refresh and take a fresh look at your situation. We also have forgiveness here, which is speaking to the need for compassion and kindness toward yourself and others, and really, yeah, getting into that place of forgiveness. And this could be forgiveness of yourself for anything that you've been holding against yourself, and or forgiveness of somebody else or some other people. Right? And as part of this, sorry, you know, acceptance actually is a real enabler of forgiveness, right? And I'm not advising or saying that you need to forgive if somebody's done some harm to you, right? If somebody's done something that is not acceptable, that is inappropriate, that you don't want to or shouldn't condone, you can still forgive in order to release the hold it has on you, right? Because if we don't accept what is, and we resist it, and we think there's something wrong, you know, that it shouldn't be, it should be different, then we are unable to forgive, which ultimately means we're still hanging on to whatever it is that caused us harm. And ultimately, that just does us more harm. It's not easy by any means, Scorpio. I feel, you know, this resonates with me too. I have got, my 7th house is Scorpio, and I've got Mars there. So I totally get all of this here. So I'm speaking from my own experience, and I'm going through a similar process right now where I am trying to find acceptance of things that have happened so that I can let go of the past, so that I can forgive and let go of the past and really kind of start fresh. But it takes strength, right? And you, Scorpio, know that you are a strong individual. And it's important for you to recognize how strong you are and how you have the capability to do this. So yeah. All right, let's see what the tarot has to add here. This is an example of how you can watch these readings for different placements in your chart, because this is speaking to my 7th house placement, if you're familiar with your chart. You can also just watch it for your sun, or your moon, or your rising, whatever. All right, let's see what the tarot has to add here. Okay, we've got the Knight of Pentacles starting us off. We've got the 8 of Swords, the 6 of Pentacles, the Judgment card. At the heart of your reading, we've got the 9 of Swords, the 4 of Pentacles, the 6 of Cups, that's Sun in Scorpio, the 3 of Cups, oh, and we've got 2 at the end here. We've got the 10 of Swords and the Devil. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Tower. Okay, so big changes are afoot here for you, Scorpio, if you allow for the changes to transpire. I mean, I think ultimately the changes will happen. It's a question of when and how, right? And your acceptance of the situation, your forgiveness, right? By doing those things, the sooner you do those things, and I'm not rushing you, please don't get me wrong here, but you know, if we can kind of step into our path, into alignment with ourselves, and kind of do the work that we're being called to do, judgment, we can rise up to the call, to what we're being called to do, and kind of embody a new and improved version of ourselves that's more in alignment with our soul, with our purpose, with our higher self, with the highest version of ourself, really. At the heart of your reading, you've got the 9 of Swords. So you could be experiencing some, well, quite a bit of mental activity here is what the 9 of Swords speaks to. So it can speak to fears and worries and anxieties, kind of in an overwhelming kind of way here. So whenever the 9 of Swords comes up in a reading, there's a need to really get present, to get into the moment. The 9 of Swords helps us understand how thinking about the past, thinking about the future, kind of being everywhere but in the present moment can kind of fuel and feed anxieties and worries and fears. When really, when we look at where we are right in that moment, we're okay, we're safe. There's nothing going wrong in the exact moment, right? And so by getting into the moment, we can get ourselves out of that fear-based thinking, right? So that's a strategy to enlist if you kind of get yanked into fears, anxieties, and worries. Notice what they're based on, right? And they usually, if not always, are based on thinking about the past and thinking about the future. So meditating can help. Getting yourself into the current moment can be a way to really release all the fearful thinking. Another thing that can be helpful that you're being advised to do is follow the guidance of the Knight of Pentacles, who is somebody who takes things one step at a time. All of the Knights indicate movement. They're all moving, but the Knight of Pentacles is moving slowly, moving methodically. The Knight of Pentacles is planting seeds, tending to those seeds, watering those seeds, cultivating what it is that he wants to build, create in his life. And he has a focus on the long term, right? So he's being very methodical and he's taking his time, right? He's not in a rush because he gets it that if I go slowly, if I do things in a methodical fashion, if I take things one step at a time, I'm going to get to my goal. And when I get there, it's going to be sustainable. The Eight of Swords is another card that speaks to kind of mental trappings. And the Eight of Swords can be the kind of thinking that makes us feel stuck, makes us feel trapped in a situation. But the message of the Eight of Swords is that this is the work of the mind, right? That in fact, in reality, we are not stuck. We are not trapped. It's our mind telling us that we are. So we have the power, we have the ability to free ourselves from this kind of mental trapping, to release negative thinking, limiting beliefs, thoughts of feeling, thoughts that, or ideas that we are stuck, that we are trapped in a situation. Because we really, if you look at this picture, right? All the swords are there and they're surrounding her, but look, she can just walk right out. Okay? So it's important to recognize your power in the situation. And a lot of times it requires calming, quieting the mind, releasing, really being aware of when our thoughts are getting in our way, are limiting us, are kind of shading the situation, are providing us with a perspective that maybe isn't exactly the reality of the situation. The Six of Pentacles here speaks to a desire for balance, well, a need for balance and a desire for situations that reflect balance, situations that offer equal give and take. So perhaps you have been in a situation or in situations that really haven't felt balanced, haven't felt like there was a sense of equal give and take, where you're putting in more than you feel like you're getting out of a situation. So the Six of Pentacles here is something that you want more of in your life. You want to be moving towards the Six of Pentacles. You want to be moving into a new beginning, a new situation that really reflects this kind of balance. And when we are in these situations where there's equal give and take, where there's more of a sense of balance, it puts us into much more of a state of generosity of heart, generosity of mind, because we're receiving that kind of generosity towards ourselves, right? So then there's, when other people are being generous with us, we feel more generous with them. So it's a real win-win situation, the Six of Pentacles. And so that's actually what you're wanting to move towards, Scorpio. One of the things that's going to help you with that Four of Pentacles here is letting go. Letting go of control, I'm hearing specifically. It can be letting go of other things, but I feel like the Four of Pentacles definitely can speak to the need to let go of control in particular, right? A lot of times we feel like the more control we have over a situation, the more we're going to be able to get what we want, get where we want, get to a situation that we want, create what we want, right? But in fact, if we feel like we have to control everything, it can be more of a kind of a gripping kind of that really needs, that ultimately ends up kind of limiting us, right? Because while we have willpower, we have the ability to make choices. If we're gripping too tightly to control and trying to move things in a particular direction, Spirit may have other plans for us that we're not aware of, right? And so it may lead to this feeling of being trapped, or perceiving that we're trapped, that we're stuck because we're trying to move in this direction. We're trying to control things. I want to go this way, but we're holding so tightly that we're not realizing that, oh, actually, if I let go, I'm going to realize that I really want to move in this direction. Or maybe if I move in this direction, it's ultimately going to get me where I want to go. The Six of Cups tends to speak to the past. It can speak to nostalgia and feeling nostalgic for the past, or kind of feeling like, oh, like, I remember when things were like this and it was so fun, and why aren't things fun anymore? It can be that. That's kind of what's coming to mind right now. It can also speak to the need to kind of tend to our inner child, right? It can speak to the need for some healing, right? Given that we've got the acceptance and the forgiveness card here, the Six of Cups can definitely speak to the need to kind of heal some childhood wounds and to reparent ourselves, is what I'm hearing, right? Humans are fallible, and our parents, they may have done a great job. They may have done a great job in some respects and not in other respects. And we may have learned some things growing up that weren't really the truth. They weren't in alignment with our truth. And so there's a need to, right, like, forgive our families, our parents, because they only had the tools that they were given, right? So as you go through this process of, tending to your inner child, it's really important to reparent yourself, or kind of be the parent that maybe you didn't have, right? Or exhibit towards yourself the parenting skills that you wish your parent had towards you, right? And allow yourself to kind of process these old wounds. If there's certain things that have been coming up that you've been feeling triggered by, or that are kind of opening old wounds, investigate, get curious about what is going on, what the origin story of that wound is, and really allow yourself to kind of process it and love yourself through that process. That's going to enable you to really get to that place of acceptance and forgiveness. And, by looking at things from the past that maybe you've been pushing down, maybe you haven't even realized you've been pushing it down, right? But with the Tower here at the bottom of the deck, like, it really seems like some foundational things are being kind of unearthed, and it's an opportunity to create a stronger, healthier foundation, right? So maybe there needs to be some excavation here, right? But doing so from a place of strength, but from a place of love towards yourself. It may be that the support of friends or loved ones, or maybe a support group would be helpful in this particular situation. The Three of Cups. Because the last cards we have here are the Ten of Swords and the Devil, which speak to an opportunity to really end a painful cycle, to detach from something that has maybe had a grip on you, right? So there's kind of a need for kind of a letting go of maybe control, and maybe, sometimes we try to control things because we feel controlled by other things or other people. And so it's both a letting go of control, but also a detaching from things that maybe have ultimately perpetuated some pain, perpetuated a painful cycle. These could be behaviors. They could be, perceptions. They could be coping mechanisms. They could be people. It can really, the Devil speaks to unhealthy attachments to things or people, behaviors, fill in the blank, that are ultimately toxic for us, right? And so with this Ten of Swords and the Devil together, there really is an opportunity to end some kind of painful cycle that is connected to some kind of attachment, some kind of unhealthy attachment. So Scorpio, I mean, no surprise, because Scorpios, you all are here for it, to do the deep work, and you're really, it feels like you're at a time right now, you're at a point in time where there is some deep work involved to kind of get you to the next phase. And as I said that, this card was peeking out the Six of Swords. So yeah, to help you move from some mental chaos, some mental discomfort, to a place of mental tranquility, right? To this new beginning where you can take a fresh look at life that's based on acceptance of what is, and allows you to really forgive the past, you know, forgive yourself, forgive others, and be in a place of strength. All right. Yeah, and to really rise to the call, right? To rise to the call to get more into alignment with who you really are. And I just heard, this is going to be a cause for celebration. That's the other thing with the Three of Cups. It can be kind of, you know, the support of friends and loved ones, but it also can be a time of I was going to say separation. There might be separation required as well before we get to this point of celebration. Another message of the Three of Cups can be carpe diem, right? Like, seize the day. The time is now. The opportunity is nigh here for you, Scorpio. All right, Scorpio, I'm sending you so much love. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today and choosing to join me. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you. Take really good care of yourself as you do this work. If you choose to do this work, of course, that is up to you. And I will see you next time. Bye.